Lilith then became a kind of succubus, a female vampire who flew at night and seduced your memory of night. Lilith then became a kind of succubus, causing them to be possessed by her and kill the babies while they are slept at night.
Before we delve into the biblical word Lilith, let's first understand the term Lilith, which has been legendary in Ashkenazi Jewish mysticism. For 4,000 years, the name of the female ghost, Lilith, has wandered the earth, becoming a source of mythic imagination for writers, artists, and poets. Its dark origins lie in Babylonian demonology, where the name Lilith was a sort of banshee or she-vampire, a bloodsucker of children, a terror to pregnant mothers and children. This Lilith banshee became the subject of amulets and incantations, used to ward off her evil powers. The legend of Lilith later migrated to the ancient Hittite, Egyptian, Israelite, and Greek worlds. The name Lilith appears only once in the Bible, as the name for an owl or an allegory of a wilderness demoness shunned by the prophet Isaiah. The Greeks had a similar concept, honoring the EMPOUTA, female ghosts, and this idea was also related to Roman tales that honored Lamice and Striges. Arab legends spoke of ghouls, which they described as female ghosts living in the desert, tearing men to pieces. In the Middle Ages, in Ashkenazi Jewish legend, the name Lilith reappeared as the terrifying first wife of Adam. There were Jewish people, except for the Sadducees, who believed in the existence of spirits. And the spirits referred to are not the spirits of the dead, but demons in the form of human-like creatures. Jews, according to the Babylonian Talmud Megillah, were forbidden to greet their friends at night because they feared that they might greet Lilith, a female ghost or banshee that typically appeared at night. There is a Jewish literary work called the Alphabet of Ben Sirach, believed to have been written in the Middle Ages and printed in Berlin in 1858. Another version of the book was found in Budapest and published in Vienna in 1926. This book tells the life story and adventures of Ben Sira at the court of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. Some stories in this book are folk tales with satirical elements. For example, this literature writes that Lilith was the first wife of Adam, but the couple constantly argued. It even delves into their sexual problems, portraying Lilith as dominant in their sexual relationship. They are said to have had children, but Lilith eventually decided to leave Adam. However, when the angels found Lilith by the Red Sea, they couldn't convince her to return to Adam, nor could they force her to obey. Finally, a strange agreement was reached, where Lilith promised not to harm newborns if they were protected by amulets, bearing the names of 3 angels written on them. This literature's story of Lilith is a tale of a wife rebelling against God and her husband, leading to Lilith being cursed as a kind of female ghost or succubus. It is then recounted that Lilith fled from the Garden of Eden to the Red Sea, where, according to legend, she immediately began mating with demons and gave birth to terrible demon children. God sent 3 angels to bring her back, but she refused them. When she was punished by having to kill 100 of her own children every day, she vowed to become a terror to all of Adam's descendants. Lilith then became a kind of succubus, a female vampire who flew at night and seduced young unmarried men, causing them to be possessed by her and killing babies while they slept at night. The Jewish leader Maimonides, 1138 to 1204, regarded the story of Lilith as Adam's first wife, and the literature that writes this as misguided, although other Jewish groups, such as the Ashkenazi mystics in the 12th, 13th centuries, and a man named Joseph B. Aziel saw truth in the content of this literature? If Maimonides rejected this folklore literature, then indeed, it is folklore. However, the folklore of Lilith does not align with the contents of the Bible, specifically Genesis chapters 1 to 5. It appears that the Renaissance artist Michelangelo, 1475 to 1564, was influenced by the legend of Lilith as a female ghost. This artist depicted Lilith as part woman, part serpent, coiled around the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Michelangelo portrayed Lilith as the serpent. In the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel Sacellum Sixtinum, he depicted Lilith as returning to the garden to seduce Adam and Eve into sin, eating the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. Michelangelo portrayed the serpent as a prostitute woman who incited and tempted Eve. The Hebrew word Lilith falls into the category of hapax legomenon, meaning a word that is used only once in the Bible, specifically in Isaiah 30:4-14. The Hebrew word Lilith, noun feminine, is derived from the word Lael, which means night, noun masculine. There is a reference to the word Lilith in the Bible as one of the species of night birds, which could also be allegorical references to evil spirits.
The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. Isaiah 34:14.
According to Hebrew lexicons, Lilith, or Lilith or Lilithmians, the name of a female goddess known as a night demon, who haunts the desolate places of Edom. A. Might be a nocturnal animal that inhabits desolate places. B. A night specter. C. Screech owl KJV. Some scholars suggest that the name Lilith used in Isaiah 30:4-14 to describe a creature roaming in the ruins of Edom refers to a type of owl Megascops osseo. The name is now used for the screech owl, a brown owl of the woods. This legend of Lilith was later used by the English poet Dante Gabriel Rossetti, who portrayed her as a beautiful woman. Her beautiful hair. Her hair was the first gold. Irish novelist James Joyce, 1882 to 1941, transformed the image of the terrifying Lilith the succubus from the past and regarded her as a symbol of abortion rights. James Joyce, Ulysses, Chap 14, Oxen of the Sun. From Joyce's perspective, in the 1970s, Jewish feminist groups began to revive the story of Lilith as an allegory for the liberation of Jewish women from male domination. Lilith is a bold figure who breaks free and divorces herself from Adam,